the unbelievable sugya of NPCs, and I think that's very relevant, B'siyata D'Shmaya. So let's go deeper into this topic. Where do we see the idea of NPCs from the Torah? We see the idea of NPCs from the Torah because we learn here that Moshe Rabbeinu says, Ki ikara adam hu adas. The essence of a human being is his das, is his consciousness. That's the essence of the human being. Umi she'ein lo das, ein min hayishuv. If somebody doesn't have das, you can't say that he's part of the community, society. You can't say that he's humaning. That's the term that we've been using. He's not humaning. He's connecting with his animal self. And that animal self is called the NPC. That animal self is called the NPC, which is essentially just like an animal is programmed, to act in a certain way and to live by his instincts. An animal literally designed, and that's what it is. The Maharal points out something amazing. It says that what is an animal called in Hebrew? Chaya, or a behema. A behema. Behema means ba ma. Ba, in it is what it is. What you see is what you get. Ba, in it, ma. Behema, ba ma.
Just flesh.
Just what it is. Those instincts, that which has been programmed to do, programmed to say, programmed to think, that's what it is.
They can't change their nature.
NPC. That's what they're designed to be. You don't get upset at a gorilla. You don't get upset at a lion for eating gazelle. You're going to take them to, people's court.
It's like the Chris Rock joke when they say the guy got eaten by the tiger went crazy. He says, tiger didn't go crazy, the tiger went tiger.
That's it. Well, what you see is what you get. That is what they are.
I saw a video of a crazy woman trying to stop nature.
How so? Like Mr. Burns stopping the sun?
No, it was like animals. They were like trying to procreate, and this lady jumped into the pond to like separate the ducks. Like,
So they weren't
don't
giving
hurt that
No,
duck.
she said the ducks didn't consent. They didn't give verbal consent, and she wanted to stop duck rape.
Yeah, it was
Okay. It's, the natural world is programmed to what it is. It's NPCs. The natural world is programmed to be this. So, what you see is what you get. The natural world is programmed in this way. And that's why you don't get upset when you see a certain thing happening in that animal world. Because you realize this is just animals being themselves. So a human being has this part of us. We have the part of us that can act in such a animalistic way, called the Nefesh HaBahamis, which is Boma. What you see is what it is. It's programmed for Kinetay V'Kavod. It's programmed. By the way, who programmed it?
Programmer.
Nachash. The Nefesh HaBahamis is programmed by the snake, by the primordial snake. When Adam ate from the Eitz Hadas, the snake seduced. The snake came into them. So the NPC part of the human being that's running is the part from the snake consciousness.
So it wasn't really a snake, or was it really a snake?
It was a snake,
It was a snake.
but it's also a consciousness that is coming to a person, and that human beings are still to this very day dealing with and trying to get away from identifying with. And I am not the Kinetay V'Kavod. I am not that consciousness. I'm the human. But the problem with the snake is that it's convinced me that that's what it is. Convinced me that just go through the motions, just Kinetay V'Kavod, all the programming, whatever it's feeding you, all the blue pills that you're getting fed from the snake. So what's Moshe Rabbeinu doing? Moshe Rabbeinu is getting into Das. Moshe Rabbeinu is awakening consciousness, which is really a departure from the snake identity. Departing from the snake identity. Okay, so far so good, my friends? A person is living as an NPC, so he's like identified as the animal part of him, but he looks like a human. 10 fingers, 10 toes, but he's not acting as a human. He's acting as an NPC, because he's acting with the animal consciousness, which is programmed to be a certain thing. What's my soul, though? My soul knows that Yesh Elokim Shalit Ba'aretz, that God is alive and well. And God is with us in this world. The one thing that they don't want us to know is that you can have an intimate connection with God. That you and every single person can have an intimate connection with God. An intimate connection. And that God wants to have an intimate connection with us. Moshe Rabbeinu Hayeloi Rachmanus. So Moses, the point of Rachmanus, of Moshe Rabbeinu, he feels, there's a part of me, the Moshe inside of me that feels compassion. I feel bad for this guy that's just walking around the world like an NPC. Be like in a video game, you see all these NPCs, and you're like, look at them, and they're just kind of like, you know,
Bumping
Mr.
the
Smiths.
walls.
Yeah, bumping the wall, like, where are you going? Like, don't ask me, I gotta get to work. It's like, what's your name? Like, I don't know, whatever they told me it is. Who'd you vote for? Whatever they told me to vote. I don't know, like, too many questions. And you feel bad for this NPC. You feel bad. I'll tell you something interesting. I remember being very young. I remember something, this is a bit of a personal kind of story, insight to me. I remember being very young, and I'm sure you guys all probably went to like a sporting event one time in your life. You went to like a stadium, 50,000 people, cheering, and watching a few guys in short pants like put a ball in a net or something.
What was your sport, bro?
What was my sport? I used to play basketball a little bit. So I went to a couple of Raptor games, Blue Jays. I've been involved a little bit, just Argos. I don't even know if people know what that means. It's called the CFL.
Alouettes.
Oh, they changed the name?
No, the Montreal. I only
Oh,
know
the
that.
Alouettes is part in Seattle.
Yeah. Oh,
I've been so out of
that's the only team
Canadian
I know.
football
That's
league
the only
stuff.
team I know in the.
Probably the last time I saw a Canadian football league game was 30-some years ago.
Oh,
Been a little while. And so I was at this sporting event. And I remember, you know what being at a sporting event's like? The place is just, there's lights flashing everywhere. There's these big screens like cheer, cheer. There's people are coming around with food. There's advertisements all over the place. Get your Klondike bar, get your Klondike. There's just, it's non-stop, just stimulation. And I remember looking around and just, for the first time, I was probably, I don't know, maybe bar mitzvah, like 13, maybe a little bit older. And I remember looking around and actually thinking about all the advertisements. So I was like, okay, Coca-Cola, okay, and they made a presence.
The banks were definitely.
The banks,
Scotia Bank is.
Yeah, the banks were there. Some ice cream or something. Some
Political messaging sprinkled in.
Yeah, some political stuff.
Maybe a land acknowledgement or two.
Some,
But like.
definitely some beer stuff was going on. It happened to be there was also certain pharmaceutical stuff like sprinkled in there. I remember looking around, and it was a time in my life I was starting to think about like what really is reality. And I just remember looking at this, the Advils, remember just looking around and thinking, it's all being controlled. In other words, if you buy one of these things, you buy them all. It's all one thing. I remember thinking, like, could you have a world without Coca-Cola? A world without Advils? Did people have any way of taking care of their headaches before Advil came to the world?
Yes.
Is there any other way of doing
They
it?
didn't have headaches for sure.
I remember just having this moment of like, it was all one thing. And the fact that you're at the game and drinking the beer, it's like, I don't know if I want to be here right now. I'm not so into this game. Bud Light doesn't taste that great anyways. This is very high sugar things. I was just thinking like, what is, there's like one message. It was all coming at you from every angle. And I felt everyone was just like a zombie. And it was like zombie club in the stadium. And everyone was doing exactly what they told you to do. And I remember having this feel of like, what is going on?
Mob mentality happens all the time.
What is going on? Are we actually thinking about anything that's happening here? Or it's just whatever you're seeing and getting, just do that.
You know, like for me, like the most depressing thing about going to these like events, like concerts and like all these events, like during the event, everyone's like, when it's over, people are like right back. Like that always like threw me off. It was like if they were really happy, they wouldn't like they would still be happy after the concert was over.
Yes.
After the game was over, like it wouldn't matter. Like you know what I mean? Like there was something off about them, like only being like cheering and off their phones. Like when there's like action, but like once the second the action is over, you're like you can see people like going right back to like their into their heads of like I'm like you know
Debts, bills,
right
problems,
thinking about like right.
I remember thinking at one point that, and I'm sure everybody here went to movies. You guys ever went to movies before? Our friends around the world, you ever saw movies, went to the movie theater? So when you're in the movie, you're just like, you're so enamored by the movie, you're so in the movie, you're in the lives of the characters, and you're like, this is amazing. The second the movie ends, it's like, the lights go on, you're like, oh no, like,
Right, back to your phone.
oh, I'm so depressed again. Like,
Yeah.
like what happened? The second the lights go on, like, whoa,
Right.
what is that? Like gummy bear patch stuff, you know, sticky floor,
Popcorn.
like popcorn stuff.
Yeah.
What is that?
Right.
By the way, movies are all the same thing. They're all also giving you some messaging
yeah.
and some programming.
Oh yeah.
Support the latest thing. Just take the blue pill. Moshe Rabbeinu is literally trying to awaken us out of a world of NPCs. He's trying to give us das, to awaken consciousness. Moshe Rabbeinu is the one that's coming, and he's saying that you don't have to be programmed anymore. It's like he walks up to you in the middle of the game. Somebody said this morning, what was his name? That person, there was a movie with Ryan.
Ready Player One.
No, I heard that's also another movie. Free Guy or something.
Oh yeah.
Free Guy?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. So that Ryan Reynolds goes up to an NPC and is basically like, oh no, he was the NPC. And he starts thinking like, he saw the real people in the game, and he basically pops out of it. So the big question is though, when you pop out of being an NPC, did you pop into another version of NPC?
Oh.
That's what they really get you. When they think that they make you that you popped out, and then you're back into a different version.
Like when
It's
Neo.
like what happened at the end of the movie. Like oh, they went to like this like island or something. This paradise. It was like this god at this island. No, but it looked all like cool and psychedelic or something. Maybe there's just another NPC. And it could be this even deeper NPC. Because then you think you popped out.
You're still in with the thumb.
That's right. Exactly. You didn't pop up. Moshe Rabbeinu wants you to totally break free. Totally break free. Moshe Rabbeinu is not telling you what to think, he's telling you how to think. And he's reconnecting you to the soul. reconnecting you to the soul, that deep soul. So this is the world of Moshe Rabbeinu. So Moshe Rabbeinu, Haile Rachmanos, and we're so happy that we're learning with our friends around the world to share with us where you're learning with us from in our global Bible studies group. We're so happy that you're here to grow together, to learn together. It's so beautiful that Kimitzion takes the Torah. From Tzion comes the Torah Devar Hashem Yerushalayim. That the word of Torah can go out to the whole world, that human beings can start awakening from the world of NPCs. And we invite you to share with us where you're learning with us from today. We're so happy that we're together. We can learn and grow and think. And if you have questions on this, and I ask people, how many of you guys feel that you're in a world of NPC? How many of you feel that you're still trapped in something? So maybe we'll take a couple questions here from my dear Chevra. Thank you, Michael. Am Yisrael Chai. The Yidden, yes, we do live. Selena, Shalom from Brooklyn. Wonderful to have you.
Someone wants to know about Isaiah 52.
So Isaiah 52, we love Isaiah 52. We love Isaiah 53. If you take very clear note of Isaiah 52 and Isaiah 53, thank you so much. Then what you'll notice is that Isaiah 52 is really the beginning of Isaiah 53. That's something that's oftentimes missed by people, is that they think that Isaiah 53 is where the story begins. But we know that the chapters were not created by Jewish sources. They were created later. And that really the way to divide up the sections of the prophets is through the pericopes. The pericope means an entire section. So if you notice, go to the end of Isaiah 52, and you'll notice that that's really the beginning of the pericope. And that's one of the real ways of understanding what is the prophet here speaking about. Where the prophet is, Hine Yaskil Avdi, where he says that my servant will succeed. Now, who is Avdi and who's speaking? It's very important here to understand that we're speaking that the kings of the world will come and understand and see suffering of the Jewish people. And if you look earlier in Isaiah, in many places, you see that the very author says Avdi Yisro, speaking of the Jewish nation. And if you want to know who Avdi is, you have to know that it's speaking about Avdi Yisro, the Jewish nation. And the kings of the world would be astonished that such a people that were so pushed down, that were so despised, became so great. So thank you so much for the question. Very, very good to remember to start Isaiah 53 from Isaiah 52 right at the end. From Mihine Yaskil Avdi. Thank you for the wonderful question. So Aksa Sharf is asking, what's your opinion about, I'm not sure the word Dajjal, the false messiah.
In Islam, it's their version of the Antichrist, who they consider the Jewish Messiah.
So, if you want to know who Mashiach is, you have to go and learn who Mashiach is. You have to go back all the way to the sources and see who Mashiach is. We've been giving a class on Mashiach, on Messiah, and going very, very carefully through the Rambam, who is getting all his sources from the prophets and from the Torah, who the Messiah is. And one of the key characteristics is understanding that if somebody breaks Torah law, they are no longer in the running for being Mashiach. That was one of the ways that we would determine if someone's a false Mashiach or a false prophet. He tells you to deviate from Torah law. So be very, very careful of somebody who comes along and he says, well, God told me to change all sorts of things in the Torah. Be very, very wary of that. And learn the section in the Bible, the Old Testament, which we call the Torah, that deals with false prophets. And that false prophets were already forewarned in the Torah. Be very aware of false prophets. Thank you so much for the wonderful question.
Someone wants to know, is it possible for Trump to be the Messiah for you guys?
Thank you for the question about President Trump being the Messiah. So it says that Messiah has to come from the lineage of King David. As far as I know, maybe there's something that I don't know, I don't think he's from the lineage of King David, and therefore that would make him not an eligible candidate for Mashiach. It also says that Mashiach has to be somebody who is exceptionally versed in Torah. If there's something that I don't know, maybe the president is from King David. That would be news to me. And maybe the president also is learning, 8 hours of Gemara learning a day that I'm not aware of, and Tosfos, and the Yeshua, and the Eger, and the Elites. I'm not aware of that. I would be happy to speak to the president about his Torah knowledge, and I'm happy to learn with the president as well. But one of the prerequisites of being Mashiach is they have to be hoiged at Torah, and they have to be oisik b'mitzvahs in a significant way, like King David was day and night. And those would be some of the main qualifications. Thank you for the question.
Part one. Someone wants to know Jeremiah 31 to 33. It says a new covenant will come, different from the old one given.
So the new covenant that we're speaking about is that there's going to be a connection to God in an absolutely deep and profound way, but never abandoning all that was given, but only adding on to all that was given. And to remember that Jeremiah was an Orthodox rabbi. And it's very, very essential to remember that. Jeremiah was an Orthodox rabbi, as was Isaiah. And therefore, both Jeremiah and Isaiah, who were connected to the written Torah and the oral tradition, were completely dedicated to every single part of Torah belief, and that all those that come forth from the written and the oral Torah has to be meditated upon, learned about, and those will be the ones that will be able to inherit this Messianic era. And we're looking forward to ushering in that era, we hope, very, very soon. Thank you so much for the question. So the living lions, can a woman be Mashiach? I really appreciate that question. Thank you so much. So it seems that we are guided that Mashiach will be a male figure, but he'll have a wife. And it says that the wife of a person is even greater than they. The wife of a person is even on a higher level. That the way that we see female energy is like a crown that is on top of the husband, and therefore will be the great light and illumination of Mashiach's wife that will really be representative of female light and godly presence in the world. Mashiach will just be more an external representation of that, and whoever the wife of Mashiach is will definitely be a very holy person, and she will have a great share in that entire experience of the Messianic unfolding.
Would you say it's possible for Christians to follow the Noahide laws?
Yes. The only thing that a person, thank you so much, I love that question, and Christians should follow Noahide laws. The only thing that a Christian has to really be aware of is that there is a very severe prohibition of idol worship. So a human being cannot be God. A human being can be a great leader. A human being can be a tzaddik. A human being can be someone who is sharing the word of God, but they themselves cannot be worshipped. That's very, very important. A person, we know that Christianity brought the world into a very, very primed place for Mashiach, as the Rambam points out, and we're going to learn about this more in a few minutes at 3 o'clock, is that Christianity primed the world that there will be a Messianic figure coming. Which, imagine in the world of paganism, how could people have imagined such a concept on a global stage? So Christianity in many ways paved the way for that. And the Rambam sees that humanity was set in a space to be ready to greet Mashiach when he comes. So very, very important to all of our Christian friends and brothers and sisters is that the 7 Noahide laws should be learned and should be studied, and to be careful of the prohibition of idol worship. Thank you.
How could someone be Christian and not think Jesus is like there's 2 separate things, being Christian and thinking Jesus?
So there's many different factions and many different approaches to it. A person could say that they think that there was a great leader that came to teach the world, but as long as you know God is one, that idolatry is forbidden, sexual immorality is completely forbidden, statues forbidden, that cruelty, Eber Menachai, forbidden, that stealing forbidden, and that on a positive level, that you should be connected to setting up courts of justice, and that the prohibition of blaspheming God's name is severe, and that a person on the opposite side should embrace God's name, should come to God consciousness, is very, very important. Thank you so much for the question. So maybe one day is asking, do you have to be a Jew here? The answer is no, maybe one day. That anybody who wants to come and learn Torah with us, we're happy to be learning together, and that we're learning ideas for humanity. That the whole world can come into a consciousness of God. The whole world can come into a consciousness. We're trying to flip NPCs into human beings here. And therefore, that is something which is relevant to every human being, is that this that we've been walking around kind of just support the latest thing, is that we want to help people to awaken, in Hebrew we call it their das, which means really deep core consciousness.
Does Jews view Muslims as monotheistic brothers and sisters of yours or not? Or no?
Yes, absolutely. Islam is monotheistic, and that we're speaking about the one God together. And that's also what the Rambam says, is that what Islam did, and the gift of Islam for humanity, is that it spread monotheistic teaching. It's Abrahamic. It's from Abraham. Spread the teaching of God's oneness to the farthest reaches of the world. And that was also preparing the world to come into God consciousness. So in Christianity, we have a world of preparing for a Messianic unfolding, and we have a world of God's oneness. This is really getting the world ready, like the prophet Isaiah says, Ki beisi beis tefillah yikar lekol ha'amim, that will build a house of prayer for all the nations. And we'll be able to pray together under the one God. So thank you, maybe one day, for the question. You don't have to be a Jew here. This is really for all humanity to come into that place of consciousness.
Can I ask a question, Rabbi?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, might be a stupid question, but is it easier for someone who's not Jewish to like break out of the NPC and like programming than someone who's...
I think everyone's pretty affected nowadays. I think people are really, really, now that we're just on our devices all the time.
No.
I remember when, no, really?
No.
Oh, where are you hanging out?
Where?
So I remember maybe 15 years ago or something, like when this all started, like for real. And I remember just like walking home from yeshiva, just seeing people, they were walking, sometimes like bumping into poles and stuff, just walking, either holding their device, clutching, usually it was clutching, talking, looking, not just go on a subway, and just for a second, people watch. And if you lock eyes with somebody for a second, like, you know,
Don't kill me.
whoa, what are you doing?
What's this eye contact?
Yeah, what's this eye? It's like getting too real over here.
Well, to be fair, subways smell, so like they smell awful. So to be fair, like, especially New York, like.
Just don't think about
Trying to
it.
distract
Just don't think about it. You know, you could read a book.
You're trying not to get murdered on the subway.
You stand out. I
That's
represent a
true.
security professional who does executive protection for VIP people. He said something like, you will stick out in certain areas if you're not glued to your phone.
Oh, yeah, people look at you like,
Yeah,
all right,
what are you doing?
Like, what are you up to?
What are you
Exactly.
doing?
Exactly.
Or a person sitting alone in the lunch line.
Yeah.
Like by yourself, not on your phone. Just
Right.
sitting there
Looking and
eating.
eating.
Just sitting and eating. I've done that. It's weird.
Right.
It feels weird. Do it. Because everybody else is
You're in Central Park. You're in Central Park. You're with your kids, your wife. You're going on a nice walk, enjoying. You see a guy on a bench. He's just sitting there. The sun is shining on his face. He's not reading a book. He's not on his phone. He's just kind of just sitting, and he looks at you and like kind of like smiles a little bit. what's the first thing you think? Just run. Maybe this guy's crazy.
This guy's up to something.
He's up.
Stand in front of your kids a little.
It's like whoa. Oh, it could be he's nuts, and I'm not saying yes or no, but it could be he's just sitting there, just thinking about God.
Or nothing, just chilling. Or not thinking about anything. That's good also, you know? Like,
There is a type of meditation like that,
Just
not
relax.
thinking about something. That happens to be a very deep meditation. Sometimes it's good just to calm the mind, focus on the breath. But we're in a world where we become so deeply influenced. That's what I mean, the NPC has affected everybody. We're being programmed all the time what to think. And Moshe Rabbeinu is telling you how to think. Think about things. Ask ideas.
What does the Talmud say about non-Jews? Can they also go to heaven?
Yes, absolutely. All human beings can come to heaven, specifically the 7 Noahide laws. This is very, very important. The 7 Noahide pieces of consciousness, that this will be a way to awaken the relationship with God, the one God. And we highly recommend for all of our friends, go buy a Tanakh, go buy a Bible, read this, learn this. This will guide you. Find groups in your community that are learning about the 7 Noahides. Spend time with them, grow with them, learn with them, make support groups. No idols. Absolutely everybody. It's called the Chassidei Umas Ha'olam, the righteous of the world. And that everybody will have a place who has popped out of NPC mode into God consciousness. And one of the first things to think about is just, where did the world come from? To come into contact with the creator of heaven and earth. Science has no logical explanation for the origins of finite matter. It's all theory. They almost sound like religious fanatics. Just believe. The multiverse? You have proof of that? Just believe. Just believe. Where's your evidence? Just believe. That sounds very non-scientific to me. So spend time, my friends, thinking. Just start thinking. Thank you so much for the question. I see some wonderful questions we're trying to get to. A peaceful little flower, yes, the art scroll version is the best. Thank you, that is an excellent point. It's very, very good, the art scroll.
Rabbi, instead of being in the phone like on public spaces and everything, what do you think about listening to music or maybe?
I think music can be very, very uplifting and beneficial. Sometimes music could be highly blue pill NPC. Sometimes the most. Because when you listen to music, you're very vulnerable. And you're letting messaging go into you in a very subtle, subconscious way. You start kind of walking around, also gets some beat going. And I don't know what that person's life philosophies are. They're impressing that into you. So be very careful the influence that you choose. Just because it came up on your feed or suggested to you, who's making that algorithm? Who decided the first song that I should listen to? And then now that is building an algorithm that's pushing an agenda to me. So while music is exceptionally powerful, and the Beis HaMikdash, the temple is filled with music, filled. The greatest Orthodox rabbi of all time is one of the greatest musicians, King David, David HaMelech. Music is of the highest spiritual level. It says that music arouses prophecy. I just don't know if Travis Scott is going to get you to prophecy. And it might take you the opposite direction. And therefore be very careful of being NPC'd with some Travis.
What about Trey? Is Trey okay?
Trey's an amazing guitarist. But you have to know. Every single person, you have to really know.
I think he's a little more tapped in than Travis. I was glad to.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, you said.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's an interesting thing that the fish has this kind of awakening consciousness to it. But you have to be conscious. You have to be aware. Like, what am I allowing into my inner sanctum?
The chain of transmission of the Torah are all anonymous. We don't know their characters and who they are. Is that true?
That's absolutely incorrect. We have a unbroken transmission where not just one rabbi, but an entire generation is explaining how I heard this from this Rebbe and cross-referencing, and I saw that he was getting it from his Rebbe, and because we were all there, and then he got it from his Rebbe, and he got it from his Rebbe. So it's not one line. We're talking about thousands of lines cross-referencing each other the entire way. All in primary source documentation. Go open up all of the good books, and you see the Beis Yosef's Rebbe was this, and this one was this, and his was that, and they're all talking about each other's Rebbe's. And I was with them, and I saw this. Open up the Rambam, he names all the names. Very, very important to know. The transmission is very, very powerful. Okay, just maybe another question or so.
What's the difference between the Talmud and the Torah? Is it a big difference?
The Talmud is the oral tradition that accompanies the written Torah. You cannot even begin to understand the written Torah without the oral transmission, because the written Torah does not tell you what letters are. Nowhere in the written Torah does it say that an aleph is an aleph. Think about it for a second. How do you even read the written Torah? It has to be that there's an oral transmission. It is absolutely illogical, and otherwise intellectual people want to claim this, is that, yeah, you can have a written Torah without the oral transmission. So the first thing you have to ask this person is, how do you even read the written Torah? You can't even read it. You don't know what letters are. And they will perforce have to admit that there must be an oral transmission. Okay, last question, my dear friends. Okay, Gibbs Yeder is saying that he feels like a sinner and has hated in his heart. So I would say, my friend, remove the feelings of hate from your heart. Try to clear out your heart. And if you come back to being a soul, you come back into soul consciousness, your soul is not hateful. Your soul is not hateful. Your soul is good. You are good on the inside. And to make a concerted effort to try to come back to your soul, back into soul consciousness. Okay, my dear friends, a pleasure to learn together. We're going to be 23 minutes back together. I'm just learning with a friend of mine from Jersey. And but we will continue with Siyat D'Shmaya, a pleasure. May Hashem continue to awaken us, that we should have the red pill. And we should be able to know that all of the program is not really who we are, that we are the soul. And with Hashem's help, that we're going to be awakened from that. Amen. Amen. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for learning with us. Chazak ve'ematz.